I slammed the door to the executive washroom so hard the mirror rattled, my reflection staring back like a ghost I'd been trying to outrun for years. That's when I saw it, the email from HR, timestamped 2:47 p.m., declaring my immediate termination for ethical violations that weren't mine. 17 minutes earlier, in that sterile conference room on the 47th floor of Apex Financial's headquarters, Richard Hale, the silver-haired CFO who'd mentored me like a father, had leaned back in his leather chair, steepled his fingers, and said with that polished Ivy League drawl, "Kenzie, you're done here. Pack your desk by 5. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I laughed, a sharp, hollow bark that echoed off the marble tiles as I gripped the sink, knuckles whitening. Because in that exact moment, as the betrayal sank in like cheap whiskey, I remembered the flash drive in my purse, the one I'd lifted from his desk drawer during last week's late-night strategy session. It held everything: the offshore accounts, the cooked books, the kickbacks from that shady merger in 23. Richard hadn't just thrown me under the bus, he'd been driving it. And I'd been the one wiping the blood off the tires for him all along. New York City in late fall is a beast, gray skies spitting rain like it's personally offended, taxis honking their disdain at anyone foolish enough to walk. I stepped out of the Apex Tower on Wall Street, my Louboutins clicking against the wet pavement, umbrella forgotten in the lobby. The cold bit into my coat, but it was nothing compared to the ice in my veins. I'd clawed my way up from a nobody in Queens to VP of Risk Management at 29, trading sleep for spreadsheets, birthdays for board meetings. Richard had been my ticket, spotting me at that Columbia Finance mixer, pulling strings for my first promotion, whispering that I had the killer instinct this firm needs.
Killer instinct.
Yeah,
Right.
more like sacrificial lamb. By the time I hit the subway at Fulton Street, my phone was blowing up, texts from colleagues with the obligatory WTF, Kenzie emojis, a voicemail from my sister in Brooklyn asking if I was okay. I ignored them all, thumbs flying over a burner app I'd downloaded months ago, just in case. The flash drive's contents were encrypted, but I'd cracked the password weeks back, his wedding anniversary, because the bastard was that predictable. Files upon files of embezzlement trails, laundered through shell companies in the Caymans. Over $12 million siphoned from client pensions to fund his Hamptons flip and his mistress's Upper East Side pied a terra. And me? I'd signed off on the audits that buried it, because he swore it was creative accounting to save jobs during the 22 downturn.
Lies.
All of it. The train rattled toward my sister's place in Bed-Stuy, the kind of neighborhood where dreams go to hustle or die. I leaned against the pole, staring at my distorted reflection in the grimy window, replaying that boardroom scene. Richard's eyes cold, appraising, like he was valuing stock options instead of torching a life. "You've been reckless, Kenzie," he'd said, sliding the termination letter across the table. "That whistleblower tip to the SEC. It traces back to you. Bullshit." The tip was anonymous, but he'd planted the seed, made it look like I'd leaked internal memos to cover his ass when the merger audits got too hot. He'd flipped on me faster than a Wall Street trader dumping Tesla at the first dip. At Lena's brownstone, the door flew open before I could knock. My sister, 42, tough as the bodega cats that roamed our old block, pulled me into a hug that smelled like lavender and last night's takeout. What the hell happened? I saw the LinkedIn posts already. News traveled faster than a viral meme in this city. Over chamomile tea in her cramped kitchen, I spilled it all, voice steady but fists clenched under the table. Lena's eyes narrowed, that big sister fire igniting. "That prick. You gonna sue? Lawyer up.
Kenzie.
We got family in the DA's office.
Sue? Nah.
That was too clean. Too American Dream redemption arc. Revenge wasn't about courts or settlements. It was about watching the tower you'd built crumble from the inside. Brick by embezzled brick. By midnight, I'd plugged the drive into Lena's ancient laptop, cross-referencing transaction IDs with public SEC filings. Patterns emerged like veins in marble, Richard's signatures on falsified reports I'd initialed under duress, emails where he CC'd me on hypotheticals that were blueprints for fraud. One file stopped me cold, a scanned confession from a junior analyst, dated 5 years back, admitting to fudging numbers on Richard's orders. The kid had OD'd on fentanyl 2 weeks later. Ruled accidental. Richard had buried the report, promoted me into the guy's slot to keep things stable. Sleep didn't come. Dawn broke with me pacing Lena's fire escape, the city waking in a symphony of sirens and steam vents. Apex was my lifeblood, 401k vested, network that spanned from DC lobbyists to Silicon Valley VCs. Losing it felt like amputation. But Richard? He'd lose everything, the corner office, the yacht club brunches, the smug grin that said he owned the game. I texted my old mentor from grad school, a SEC insider named Marcus. With a vague coffee, he replied in seconds, trouble? Understatement of the year. Back at my Midtown sublet by noon, I showered off the subway grime and suited up, tailored black pantsuit, the one that made me look like I could negotiate a hostile takeover. The flash drive went into a slim leather folio, disguised as notes for a job interview. My first stop, a cyber cafe in Chelsea. The kind with more hackers than lattes. $50 bought me an hour on a secure terminal, where I uploaded anonymized snippets to a dark web forum frequented by white-hat journalists. Subject line: Apex's rotten core, proof inside. No names yet. Just enough to stir the pot. Make the suit sweat. By 3 p.m., I was in a Starbucks across from Apex, nursing an Americano, scrolling Glassdoor reviews that now buzzed with toxic leadership whispers. Richard's LinkedIn lit up with congrats on some bullshit award, excellence in fiscal stewardship, huh? I bookmarked it, fingers itching for the keyboard. That's when Marcus called. Kenzie, what the fuck? You ghosted after Columbia. Now this. His voice was gravel over concern. I met him at a dive bar in the village an hour later. The kind with peanut shells on the floor and no CCTV. Over IPAs. I slid him a printed timeline, dates, amounts, my coerced signatures highlighted in red. He whistled low, flipping pages. This is dynamite. But if it blows back. Traitorous thoughts flickered. Run.
Hide.
Start over in Austin with a craft brewery gig.
But no.
Richard had taken my ambition and twisted it into his noose.
A1T. I lied.
Voice like steel. Marcus pocketed the docs. Give me 48 hours. I'll loop in my contact at the Times. As he left, I felt the first crack of doubt, not regret, but the weight of what came next. Revenge was a one-way street, littered with collateral. That night, alone in my apartment with the skyline mocking me through floor-to-ceiling windows, I drafted the email. Not to HR. Not to the board. To Richard. Sissy, his wife. The one who'd hosted that disastrous holiday party where he'd groped the caterer. We need to talk. Tomorrow.
8 Uhr morgens.
Your office. Come alone.
Send.
The whoosh echoed like a guillotine drop. Sleep came in fits. Dreams of boardrooms turning to courtrooms. Richard's face morphing into my father's, gone too soon. Crushed by a Wall Street scam that left us scraping by on food stamps. Morning broke with a vengeance. Coffee bitter on my tongue as I hailed a cab back to the tower. Security buzzed me up, no flags yet. Just pitying glances from the receptionist. The elevator hummed to the 47th, depositing me in a lobby that screamed old money, Persian rugs, abstract art that cost more than my rent. Richard's assistant, a mousy kid named Tyler,
Stammered.
"He's expecting you?" I nodded, cool as a cucumber salad. "Tell him it's urgent." His office was a shrine to ego, framed Forbes covers. A model of his private jet on the desk. Richard looked up from his Bloomberg terminal, surprise flickering before the mask slipped back. "Kenzie." Bold move. He gestured to the chair opposite, but I stayed standing, folio in hand. "You fired me yesterday." Thought I'd return the favor. His laugh was forced, eyes darting to the door. "What's this? Severance negotiation?" I admire the grit, but
I tossed the drive onto his desk.
it skidded to a stop by his Montblanc pen. "Decrypt it." Password: Eleanor 0715. Color drained from his face. That patrician tan going sallow. "Where did you?" I cut him off. Voice low. Venomous. "Your drawer." During the merger prep. "You were too busy texting your side piece to notice." He lunged for it, but I snatched it back. 17 minutes after you gutted me. "Richard." "That's all it took to unravel you." He slumped, rubbing his temples. "Kenzie, listen." It was survival. The board was breathing down my neck post-pandemic. Those adjustments, they kept the lights on. "Your signature?" I thought you understood the game. The gaslighting.
Classic.
But I saw the fear now. Raw and real. The game? You let that analyst die to cover it. Push me to sign off. Then pin the leak on me when it got hot. That's not a game. That's murder by memo. His eyes hardened. The mentor gone. Replaced by the shark. "You think you're clean? That Columbia scholarship?" I pulled strings. "Your fast track? My recommendations. Betray me, and it all crumbles." Threat veiled as truth. My heart pounded, but I held ground. "Then let's burn it together. Resign by noon, or the SEC gets the full dump. Including the widow's email chain, the one where you promised her late husband's bonus if she stayed quiet." He froze. Calculating. Outside. Thunder rumbled. Rain lashing the glass like applause. "What do you want?" "Everything," I thought. "Your throne. Your ruin. Your resignation.
Public.
Blame the ethical lapses on yourself."
A beat.
Then, slow nod.
Fine.
But walk away clean. Kenzie.
No leaks. Lie.
I knew it the second he said it. As I turned to leave, his voice stopped me. "You're just like me. Hungry. Ruthless. Maybe. But that's where our roads forked." Down in the lobby, Tyler cornered me, eyes wide. "Mister." Hale's on the phone with the board. Screaming. The worm was turning. I slipped into the rain, anonymous in the crowd, but the high was fleeting. Marcus texted, "Times is biting. Front page tomorrow. Too fast." Richard would flip again, lawyers, countersuits, painting me as the vengeful ex. Doubt crept in. Was this justice or just spite? The city swallowed me whole. secrets heavy as the downpour. The fallout hit like a nor'easter, sudden, savage, shredding everything in its path. By 10 a.m., Apex stock dipped 3% on unconfirmed rumors of internal irregularities, traders on CNBC speculating like it was the next Enron. I holed up in a NoHo coffee shop, laptop open to live feeds, nursing a black coffee that tasted like regret. Richard's play was predictable: damage control. A company-wide memo at 9:45, blaming a disgruntled employee's false allegations and announcing an independent review. My name wasn't mentioned, but the subtext screamed Kenzie Riley, pariah, poison pill. Lena called as I scrolled X, formerly Twitter, for mentions. Girl, you're trending. Apex scandal. Half the feeds are calling you a hero, the other half a gold-digging snake. I laughed. Bitter. In America, truth is whatever side pays the most ads. Stay off social, she warned. These finance bros play dirty. Too late. Anonymous accounts, sock puppets. No doubt from Richard's IT goons, were dredging my past. That DUI in college, expunged. But hey, clicks are clicks. Whispers of an affair with a board member, pure fiction. The guy was gay and married. The mob turned fast. From sympathy to schadenfreude. Marcus met me at noon in Washington Square Park. Benches slick with rain. Pigeons scattering like bad investments. He handed over a manila envelope, thick with redacted SEC prelims. Your timeline checks out. Hale's been dodging audits since 21. But Kenzie, this implicates you too. Those signatures? My stomach twisted. Forged? No.
Meaning?
Inked under his thumb twist. Sign. Or kiss your bonus goodbye. Coercion wasn't a defense. It was a gray area lawyers feasted on. I know, I muttered, rain dripping from my hood. But he orchestrated it. The analyst's death. Marcus cut in. Voice urgent. Suicide note said depression. No foul play. Bullshit. I'd seen the kids' emails. Frantic pleas to HR that Richard had quashed. Help me prove it, he sighed. Old mentor weighing the cost. You're playing with fire.
Kid.
Hale's got friends in high places, senators. Donors. Back out now. Take the NDA payout. Tempting. A cool mill to vanish to Portland. Brew IPAs. Forget the grind. But the hook was set, betrayals barb too deep. Afternoon blurred into a haze of burner calls and VPN hops. I uploaded more docs to the forum, redacted wire transfers linking Richard to a Cayman fixer named Victor, a ghost from my due diligence days. Whispers spread, podcasters dissecting it on Spotify. Reddit's r/Wall Street bets turning it into memes, CFO to CFO, cash flowing out. By 5 p.m., the Times piece dropped. Apex Financial rocked by allegations of multi-million fraud. XVP points finger at top brass. Not my name in the byline. But the details? My fingerprints all over. Richard's counterpunch landed at 6:02. A press release. Apex regrets the actions of former employee Kenzie Riley, whose termination stems from confirmed data breaches and unauthorized disclosures. Data breaches? He'd hacked my work email weeks ago. I'd traced the IP to his home network. The narrative flipped. I was the thief. The scorned underling leaking to sabotage. My phone lit up. Recruiters ghosting. Old friends radio silent. Isolation hit harder than the rain. New York, the city that never sleeps, suddenly felt like a cage. I crashed at Lena's again. Her pull-out couch a far cry from my sublet's king bed. Over frozen pizza and Chianti. She grilled me. This ain't just about the job.
Is it? Spill.
Truth serum in liquid form. I told her about Dad, how he'd lost everything to a Ponzi run by a suit just like Richard, jumping from the Brooklyn Bridge when the feds came calling. I was 15. Promised myself I'd never let it happen again. Lena's hand on mine.
Steady.
Then don't. But Kenzie, revenge eats the avenger. Look at Mom, chasing that deadbeat till it killed her spirit. Her words lingered as I slipped out at dawn. Cab to JFK for a red-eye to DC. No plan. Just instinct, hit the source. Marcus's SEC contact was a mid-level enforcer named Carla, ex-prosecutor with a rep for nailing white-collar wolves. I met her in a nondescript diner off K Street, fluorescent buzz and 4 mica tables screaming federal drudgery. Riley, she said. No handshake, eyes like laser sights. Your buddy Hale's lawyered up. Claims you're fabricating to extort. I slid the analyst's confession front and center. Check the metadata. His email server. She pocketed it. Expression unreadable. This could bury him. Or you. Why risk it? Because the system's rigged for guys like him. Old boys club. Backroom deals over scotch at the Metropolitan Club. He made me complicit. Covered a death. I want him to feel that weight. Carla nodded.
Slow. All right.
But testimony means exposure. Your career?
Toast.
Toast was better than ashes. Back in New York by noon, the storm had broken, literal and figurative. Apex shares tanked 8%, board in emergency session. I watched from a midtown bar. ESPN muted. CNBC blaring. Richard's face flashed on screen. Press conference. Ty Askew. Denying baseless accusations with that rehearsed gravitas. Apex remains committed to transparency and integrity. The crowd of reporters shouted questions. He dodged like a pro. But his eyes, haunted, darting. I knew that look. Cornered fox scenting the hounds. Emboldened, I made my move. Anonymous tip to the Post. Richard's mistress. A real estate agent named Brooke. Spilling on the Hamptons hideaway funded by client gifts. Photos leaked by evening, grainy shots of them on a yacht. Champagne flutes raised. Tabloid gold. Twitter exploded. Richard Hale hypocrite trending. Memes of him as Tony Soprano in a suit. His wife's ex-account went dark. Divorce lawyers. No doubt. Circling. But Richard wasn't done flipping. At 9 p.m., my doorman buzzed. Package. Inside. A nondescript envelope. No return address. A single sheet. Meet me. Pier 17. Midnight.
Come alone. A trap. Probably.
But the pole is magnetic. Face the devil. End the dance. I geared up. Slim Jim in my boot. Old habit from Queen's Alleys. Pepper spray in pocket. Phone recording. The walk to South Street Seaport was a gauntlet of holiday lights mocking the dark, twinkling garlands over my unraveling world. Pier 17 loomed. Ferris wheels spinning lazy against the ink-black East River. He was there. Silhouette by the railing. Coat flapping in the wind, off the water. No bodyguards, arrogance or desperation. Kenzie. Voice rough. Stripped of polish. You win. I'm resigning tomorrow. Full mea culpa. Wind whipped my hair. I tasted salt and lies. Why here? Why now? He turned, face gaunt under sodium lamps. Because you're right. It started small, fudging a quarter to hit targets. Then the merger. Victor got greedy. The kid? I didn't push him, but I didn't stop it. Confession or con? His eyes pleaded, but I saw the calculation.
And me?
You groomed me to take the fall. He winced. I thought you'd rise above it.
Prove yourself.
Rage boiled, but I reined it. Walk away clean.
You said.
Now this. He stepped closer. Too close. Help me bury it deeper. We both walk. The flip, ally to enemy to co-conspirator in seconds. Classic Richard. I laughed.
Cold. No.
Hit play, his voice tinny, admitting it all. Horror bloomed on his face. You bitch, he lunged. I sidestepped. Boot connecting with his knee. He crumpled, cursing. It's over. As I backed away, sirens wailed distant. Coincidence? Or his insurance? I ran, heart slamming, into the night. Back at Lena's, I uploaded the audio to the forum. By morning, it was everywhere. The board moved fast. 7:15 a.m. email blast. Richard Hale suspended pending investigation. Inches from fired, my doing. But victory tasted like bile. Carla called. We need you in D.C. Testimony. The hook sank deeper. No turning back. Testifying before the SEC felt like stripping naked in a room full of wolves, bright lights, droning questions. My life dissected on the public record. DC's federal building was a concrete bunker, all echoing corridors and security wands that beeped at my resolve. Carla prepped me for hours. Stick to facts.
No emotion.
Easy for her. This was Tuesday for a prosecutor. For me, it was autopsy on my soul. The panel, 3 stone-faced commissioners, aides scribbling, grilled me from 10 a.m. sharp. MS. Riley, you authorized falsified reports for 3 quarters. Though sweat prickled my blouse. Under directive from Mr.
Hale.
He framed it as temporary measures to protect jobs post-COVID layoffs. Gasps?
None.
These folks had seen worse than a CFO's Ponzi remix. I laid it out. Emails.
Timestamps.
The analyst's ghost haunting every signature. He isolated me, made me believe it was mentorship. Then, when scrutiny hit, he leaked a fabricated trail back to me. Exhibit A. The flash drive. Now forensic gold. Tex had trace deletions, Richard scrubbing his digital footprints. Only half-assed. A silver fox named Hargrove
Leaned in.
and the deceased employee, Mr. Ellis? Any indication of coercion? I swallowed. His confession draft implicated Hale directly.
Brûlé suicide.
But the timing. Hargrove nodded, jotting.
No promises.
But the tide shifted, from suspect to star witness. Lunch was a styrofoam salad in a windowless room. Carla buzzing. You're killing it. Hale's team is scrambling, offered a plea already. Plea? For fraud that gutted retirements. Widow's nests? Too light. She eyed me. Justice isn't tidy. Kenzie. He does 5 years. Maybe. You get immunity. Immunity bought freedom.
But not peace.
Richard's flips echoed, mentor to manipulator to martyr. Was I any different? Wielding truth like a blade? Afternoon dragged, cross-exam by Hale's shark. A Harvard alum with a spray tan. MS. Riley, isn't it true you benefited from these adjustments? Your salary tripled in 2 years.
Snide.
I met his gaze.
Yes.
And every bonus check felt like blood money. The room tensed. Even Hargrove shifted. Score 1 for the Queen's girl. By 5 p.m. Recess. Carla pulled me aside. They're leaning toward charges. But Hale's got leverage. Donated to the wrong campaigns? Right ones. Sorry. Politics. The original shell game. Push for the death angle, I urged. Ellis deserved better. Her nod was weary. I'll try. Flight back to LaGuardia was turbulence all the way, mirroring my gut. New York greeted with a chill snap. Holiday markets popping up like defiant cheer. My sublet felt haunted. Voicemails from Mom in Florida. Heard on the news. Honey, call. Texts from ex-colleagues, traitor. Isolation bred paranoia. Shadows in alleys. Cars idling too long. Richard's reach? Or my unraveling mind? Lena's was sanctuary. But even she pressed.
DC?
Testimony? Kenzie? That's federal time. What if they flip it on you? I paced her living room, wine glass trembling. They won't. It's solid.
Lie.
Doubt nod. Those signatures. My ambition blinding me to red flags. Had I chosen the dark path? Chasing the American hustle at any cost? Next morning, the hammer dropped. CNBC ticker. Apex CFO Richard Hale resigns amid fraud probe. Board cites irreconcilable differences. Irreconcilable my ass. My audio had gone viral. Remixed into TikTok takedowns. Protests outside Apex. Pensioners with signs. Our future stolen. Finance bros countering. One bad apple. Polarized. Just like America, heroes versus villains.
No grass.
Richard's flip came at 11 a.m. Courier to my building. Another envelope. This one thick, photos of me at the pier.
Timestamped.
Note. You think it's over? Meet at the old spot. 8 p.m. Or, these go to the DA with your boot print on my knee as assault. Assault? He'd lunged first. But optics. Vengeful ex versus battered exec. Heart racing. I burned the pics in my sink. Acrid smoke curling like accusations. The old spot. That Columbia dive bar where he'd recruited me. All exposed brick and overpriced wings. I arrived early. Corner booth. Hoodie up. He slid in opposite at 8:05. Bruised knee hidden under slacks. Eyes wild. Kenzie, you don't get it. The board's turning on me. But I can fix this for us. Us? What? Team up? After you framed me? He leaned in. Whiskey breath. I didn't frame. I protected. That leak? Not me. Victor, the fixer. He's tying loose ends. You're next.
Twist.
Not his play, but the ghost's. Victor's Cayman web. Tentacles in Apex since the merger. Richard's fear was real, sweat beading, hands shaking. He killed Ellis.
Cleaned it quiet. Now you.
With your crusade. My mind reeled. All this time, I'd pinned the serpent on the snake, charming it. Proof. He slid a thumb drive across. Ironic. Burner emails. His hits. I pocketed it. Wary. Why tell me now? Because you're the only one who can stop him. SEC's too slow. He'll vanish. Flip again. Enemy to ally. Desperation's gift. But trust? Shattered like cheap crystal. And you? Walk free? He shrugged. Plea deal. Lesser counts. Help me. I bury your signatures. Tempting poison. As we parted. His parting shot. We're the same. Kenzie. Victims of the machine. Echo of his office plea. Maybe. Or maybe sharks just circle tighter. I didn't sleep. Cross-check the drive at a 24-hour Kinko's. Files legit. Victor's aliases popping in Interpol alerts. The real villain. Not Richard. But the shadow puppeteer. My revenge? Misdirected missile. Dawn brought clarity. Widen the net. Anonymous drop to Carla. New lead. Hale's cleanish. Real players offshore. Her reply. Fly back.
Now.
DC round 2. Hargrove's office. Stale coffee and tension thick as fog. The drive sealed it. Victor's money trail looping through Apex, but originating in Moscow laundering ops. This changes everything, Hargrove barked.
Hales upon.
Pawn with a crown. Richard's testimony flipped the script, immunized in exchange for ratting the fixer. By noon, feds were raiding Apex servers, freezing assets. Victor? Ghosting. But his U.S. front, a shell LLC, dissolved overnight. Back in New York, the city pulsed with chaos. Apex shuttered floors, layoffs rippling like aftershocks. Protests swelled, victims' families chanting outside Hale's townhouse. Paparazzi swarming. I watched from afar. Lena's TV a portal to the storm. You did this, she said. Proud but pained. But at what cost? My job?
Gone. That?
Shredded. Half the headlines called me whistleblower saint, the other half corporate saboteur. Recruiters? Crickets. Richard reached out that night, text from a block number. Thanks. Oh, you.
Oh.
The gall. I replied. Pay it by rotting.
Petty.
But cathartic. Victor surfaced in fragments. AP wire. Arrested in Miami on unrelated laundering. The dominoes toppled, SEC indictments raining. Apex's board scattering like roaches. Climax brewed in a Manhattan courtroom. 3 weeks later. Preliminary hearing for Hale. Lesser fraud counts. Community service floated. Victims' gallery seethed. Ellis's mom. Gray-haired and glaring. Clutching a photo. I testified last. Voice steady. He built an empire on lies. But the real architect hides deeper. Judge's gavel. Bail denied. Richard's eyes met mine across the room. Gratitude? Resentment?
Both.
Outside. Rain again. Media scrum. A reporter shoved a mic. MS. Riley. Hero or homewrecker? Loaded question. American as apple pie. Neither. Just a survivor. Flashbulbs popped. I vanished into the crowd. But the divide cracked wide. Online forums split. Some hailing my takedown. Others decrying witch hunt ruining lives. Richard's fans, bros in MAGA hats, protested my ruin, while Me Too adjacent cheered the burn. No heroes. Just humans clawing in the Colosseum. That night. Alone. The weight crushed.
Idea buncha that's ghost.
Ellis's silence. My stolen years. But Richard? Not evil incarnate. Just a cog grinding others down. And me?
Complicit till the end.
The phone rang unknown. I let it go to voicemail. His voice. Broken, Kenzie. It wasn't all lies. You were the best of us.
Click.
Doubt flooded, mercy or manipulation. The trial stretched into spring. New York's thaw mirroring the slow melt of my certainties. Apex declared bankruptcy in February. Carcass picked clean by vulture funds. Ironic, given the pension bloodbath. Richard's plea deal stuck. 2 years federal. 5 probation.
8,000 pesos restitution. Victor,
Extradited to face the big leagues. But whispers said he'd sing for a dime bag of leniency. Loose ends. But the knot-eyed tide held.
me,
Immunity shielded. But the scars itched. Job offers trickled, consulting gigs from boutique firms sniffing redemption arcs. A book deal from a hungry agent. Whistleblower's lament. Tell your story. I turned them down. Holing up in a Jersey Shore rental. Waves crashing like unanswered questions. Lena visited weekends, dragging me to boardwalk arcades, forcing funnel cake down my throat. Live. Kenzie. Not just survive. Wise words from the sister who'd raised me post-dad. But revenge's echo lingered. A low hum under the gull cries. Richard wrote from Rikers, actual ink on prison stationery. Contraband luxury. You saved me from myself. And damned me. Fair trade. I burned it on the beach. Flames dancing with the tide. Fair? In America's meritocracy myth. Maybe. But fairness was for fairy tales. Reality was score settling in 3-piece suits. Twist came in April. Uninvited as a tax audit. Carla called. Voice clipped. Hale's talking. Says you knew about Victor from day one. Chose to shield him for a cut.
what?
My blood iced. Lies. But doubt wormed. Those late nights. Richard's hypotheticals that smelled like Victor's ops. Had I ignored flags for the climb? SEC reopened my file. Subpoena for emails.
Audits.
The flip. My ally in the grave. Panic set in. Jersey salt air turning claustrophobic. I lawyered up, public defender type. No frills shark named Ruiz. Plausible deniability, he grunted over Zoom. Hale's desperate. Painting you as co-conspirator buys sympathy. Sympathy for the devil.
Classic.
Media reignited. Whistleblower or wheelhouse? Subheadline dripping doubt. Online. The split deepened. r/true crime pods debating my Machiavellian glow-up. Finance TikToks calling it karma's boomerang. Lena flew in. Face thunder. Fight it. Or run. Run? To where? Canada's polite purgatory.
No.
This was my coliseum. I flew back to New York. Sublet reclaimed. War room assembled. Ruiz. Marcus. Stacks of my own docs proving ignorance. Affidavits from Tyler the assistant. Hale ordered the shreds. Even Brooke the mistress, he bragged about stringing you along. Hearing in May. Same courtroom. Ghosts thicker. Richard. Orange jumpsuit clashing with his pallor.
Testifying via video, Rikers feed glitchy.
Kenzie was in deep, he claimed. Eyes avoiding the lens. Victor met her twice. Cut of the action for silence. Lies. Slick as ever. My cross. Names?
Dates.
He faltered. Confidential. Crack showed. My turn. Stand. Swear.
Spill.
I trusted him. He betrayed that. Now this. Voice cracked. First time. Gallery murmured. Ellis's mom nodded from the back.
Ruiz hammered. Time nouns disproved meetings.
My travelogue's clean. Judge, a no-nonsense Brooklynite, scowled at the screen. Mr.
Hale.
Your credibility's thinner than federal budget. Case dismissed. My name cleared. But the stain? Permanent ink. Outside. Scrum again. This time. I spoke. Betrayal's a chain. Links us all. Richard broke his. I forged mine to break free. Soundbite gold. Viral by dinner. Book deal revived. TED Talk invites.
Redemption?
Or rebrand. Summer hit with heat waves. Cities simmering. I took a gig, pro bono advisor for a victims fund, channeling restitution to folks like Ellis's family. Meaning over money. Finally. Richard shipped to Otisville minimum. Letters ceasing.
Victor?
15 years.
No plea.
Justice. Lopsided but served. Twist's tale. September. Anonymous package at Lena's. Victor's flash drive decrypted fully. Buried file. Richard's initial tip to the fixer. Selling out the analyst for a bigger score. But another. My name on a protect list. Richard shielding me from Victor's early hits. Motive? Paternal? Possessive? Debate fodder eternal. Ending? No tidy bow. I walked Coney Island boardwalk one dusk. Cyclone rumbling. Hot dogs steaming. Pure Americana grit. Phone buzzed, Mom. Proud. Baby. Come home. Home. Not a place. But the fight won. Scars earned. Richard? Rotting. Reflecting.
Me?
Free. But forever marked. Hero? Villain?
Both.
In this game, we all flip. Was it worth it? Ask the readers picking sides, the ones cheering my blade. Or mourning the fallen king. Controversy's the spark, truth. The slow burn. And in America's endless hustle, that's the only happy ending we get. One where no one's wholly right. And the debate rages on.